In this episode of Star Hopping with Kissimmee Park Observatory, we'll look at the Cygnus region and show you how to find these beautiful deep sky objects. The Coathanger cluster, the Veil Nebula, and the North American Nebula NGC 7000. All right, let's go star hopping. Hey, hello, hi, and welcome to episode 34 of Star Hopping with Kissimmee Park Observatory. I'm Dave Hearn, and I'm just euphoric to be your host. In this series of programs, we show you the most beautiful sights in the night sky and explain exactly how to find them with your binoculars or your telescope. Well, as June approaches, we're seeing the bright summer triangle appearing well above our eastern horizon. The three bright stars that compose this huge asterism are Vega in Lyra, Deneb in Cygnus, and Altair in Aquila. We used Altair a couple times as a starting point in last week's episode, and this week our home base will be Deneb, the brightest star in the constellation of Cygnus the Swan. Cygnus is also known as the Northern Cross, with Deneb defining the head of the cross, Saturn lying at the center of the cross with the arms of the cross stretching out upwards and downwards, and the foot of the cross being the bright multicolored double star Albireo. At midnight at the beginning of June, Deneb is some 25 degrees up in the eastern sky, standing out in the crowd, shining at magnitude 1.3. We'll traverse the entire length of the swan to its head to find our first target right after this break. Kissimmee Park Observatory would like to thank our wonderful supporters on Patreon. Your contributions will allow us to create and provide more quality astronomy content. We appreciate your generosity and support.
Star hopping target number 1.
Brocchi's cluster, also known as Colander 399, or more commonly known as the Coathanger, is a large open cluster of about 3 dozen stars spread over 1 degree. It's known as the Coathanger because of the pattern formed by its 10 brightest stars. This is a perfect target for those of you with binoculars because this is a very large cluster, spanning 1.5 degrees or 3 diameters of the full moon. The Coathanger actually lies in the constellation of Vulpecula the Fox, which is also home to the famous Dumbbell Nebula, Messier 27. We found this famous planetary nebula in episode 3 of Star Hopping, which was one of our most popular episodes. As I mentioned, we'll be starting at Deneb in our star hop, and we'll be covering a lot of sky in order to get to the Coathanger, over 30 degrees. This isn't a problem because the optical weapon of choice will be our binoculars. So this will be a really good tour of Cygnus. Starting at Deneb, scan to the upper right about 6 degrees to second magnitude Saturn. Saturn is the center of the Northern Cross, and it's the point where the swan's wings connects to its body. Now continue scanning about 7 degrees in the same direction, and you'll find 4th magnitude Eta Cygni. Along the same direction again, scan 5 degrees to the upper right to find 4th magnitude Phi Cygni. Now scan about 3 degrees to the upper right to find the most beautiful double star in the heavens, 3rd magnitude Albireo, which marks the head of the swan. We'll come back to this gorgeous star after we reach our target because it's a must-see in your telescope. So now let's move about 2.5 degrees to the lower right across the border into Vulpecula to 4th magnitude Answer. Now move about 5 degrees in the same direction and you'll see the unmistakable shape of the Coathanger coming into view. Isn't that cool? Fairly recently, astronomers decided that Brocchi's cluster is not really an open cluster at all because the stars within it are not moving together. So it's really just a chance configuration of stars, otherwise known as an asterism. It sits within a nebulous area that shows up in astrophotos like this one. So as promised, let's jump back to Albireo. Find this wonder in your telescope. Since you saw it in your binoculars just a few minutes ago, that should be relatively easy. Pop in a high-power eyepiece and feast your eyes on this gorgeous double star. Albireo is a celestial gem, a pair of stars colored indigo and gold, and it's embedded in the dense field of the Cygnus star cloud. Albireo may very well be the most observed double star because of its stunning colors and easy-to-find location at the foot of the Northern Cross. When viewed with a telescope, it easily resolves into a double star separated by 35 seconds of arc, consisting of amber Albireo A at magnitude 3.1 and sapphire Albireo B at magnitude 5.1. If you're observing with friends, see if they can describe the colors and then compare your notes. I love to do this kind of stuff. Okay, back to Deneb we go to capture our next binocular target, which is one of the largest nebulae in the skies. We'll try to snare it right after this.
Star hopping target number 2.
The North American Nebula, cataloged as NGC 7000, is a massive H2 region containing thousands of stars and pockets of gas and dust. The challenge is that it's so large that its light is spread over a large area, and what we'll see in the binoculars is just a dense clump of star cloud as opposed to all this nebulosity. This is a fairly easy one to find, but a good dark sky is needed. If you happen to be looking for this nebula in the wee hours, it'll be better, as it'll be very high in the sky. So let's grab our binoculars again and train them on bright Deneb in Cygnus. About 5 degrees straight down from Deneb is 3rd magnitude Xi Cygni. In your binoculars, look about a degree above Xi, and you'll see a triangular star cloud measuring about 2 degrees by 1 3/4 degrees. You've located the star cloud that forms the famous North American Nebula. In astrophotos like this one from KPO, the red nebulae and star clouds within it make a striking vista, shaped like the continent of North America. It's uncanny because you can easily see Mexico and Florida and the Gulf of Mexico. Beside the North American Nebula lies the fainter Pelican Nebula, also seen in this astrophoto from KPO. Apparently, the dark shapes that form the continent shape that we see is due to obscuring dust that lies between us and the Large Emission Nebula. But the result is one of the most beautiful nebulae in the sky in astrophotos. The next target will require your telescope, and those of you with larger scopes will definitely do better. We'll check it out right after this.
Star hopping target number 3.
The wispy deep sky object known as the famous Veil Nebula is striking to see with a large telescope. It's just part of the Cygnus loop, a supernova remnant left over from a massive supergiant star that exploded some 5,000 to 8,000 years ago. The full size of the loop is over 3 degrees, but the area we'll be concentrating on tonight is surrounding the star 52 Cygni. So put your wide field eyepiece back in your scope and we'll be off to find the Veil. We'll start from the central star of the Northern Cross, Saturn. Move downward and a little to the right, about 7 degrees, to the bright 2nd magnitude star, Gienah. Next, move about 3 degrees to the lower right to find the 4th magnitude star, 52 Cygni. If you have a larger scope, you should immediately see a wispy line running through the star from both sides. You've spied the Western Veil Nebula. This is another example where a nebular filter will really help, like the Lumicon Oxygen 3 filter I mentioned last week. If you scan down about 2.5 degrees to the lower left, you might pick up the Eastern Veil, which is extremely wispy and spread out over a large area. Again, a dark sky really helps with this one. So if you do some early morning observing, again, it'll be better when it's near the zenith. So we hit 3 targets for both binocular and telescope owners this week. We started off with the interesting asterism known as the Coathanger in the small constellation of Vulpecula. Then we had a happy bonus. The last star we hopped to before finding this target was the beautiful multicolored double star Albireo. Next, we moved the opposite side of Cygnus, the Northern Cross, to bright Deneb and moved a little east to find the star cloud that forms the center of the famous North American Nebula. Lastly, we finished up to locate the wispy Veil Nebula, a supernova remnant in the lower arm of Cygnus. So that does it for this week's episode. You can find the show notes on our website at kpobservatory.org/sh034, where you can comment and leave any questions that you may have. We really would love to hear your comments about the stuff we're presenting here. So we're just a little over a month away from the start of our new video series, KPO's European Astronomy Tour, where we'll be visiting famous observatories of the present and the past, experience phenomena of the far northern latitudes, and interview professional astronomers. We have a page set up on our website describing this great trip at kpobservatory.org/euro-astro-tour. There's a subscribe button on the page to allow you to sign up for a special newsletter that'll notify you of new weekly episodes, as well as our frequent travel updates as we trek through Scandinavia and the UK. The newsletter will have lots of content that won't be in the astronomy tour videos. It'll be more like a travelogue of our trip, so those of you that love to travel will really enjoy it. And another reminder, this series will be replacing the star hopping episodes while I'm gone. That's why I've been giving you the targets recently that won't be rising until about midnight and afterwards. These will be rising earlier as we move into the later months. That way, you'll have star hopping targets throughout the whole summer. I want to do a quick shout out to our newest supporters on Patreon, Jason and Mary Girallo. This great couple drove a couple of hours to attend our last public observing session at the observatory, and we had a great time viewing the stars together that evening. Now they've started to support KPO on our Patreon site. Thank you so much, Jason and Mary. I greatly appreciate your support and friendship. You're always welcome to the observatory, and I hope to see you at our next observing session after the summer rainy season finally is over. Well, thank you very much for watching our show. I know that you have many options of content to watch, and I appreciate your spending your time with us. I'll see you next week with more star hopping tips and tricks.
I'm Cassie, and I hope you've enjoyed star hopping around the Milky Way. We'll continue to bring you these video astronomy tutorials every week on Thursday, and in their podcast format on Fridays. They'll be designed to help you find deep sky objects that are up in the sky at the time we post them on the internet. The reason we create these videos and podcasts is to help beginning amateur astronomers learn the sky and get more enjoyment out of their telescopes and astronomy in general. If you have any requests for potential targets in the night sky that you would like to see us discuss, just let us know down in the comments section below or on our website blog. Don't miss our free field notes for this episode, basically the script of the show, with all the images and star charts we use for our star hopping activities. You can get them for free at kpobservatory.org/fieldnotes. If this is the first time you're checking out star hopping, and if you found this video useful, please consider subscribing to our channel by clicking the big yellow button, click the thumbs up on the video, and please share this tutorial out to your friends who like looking at stars. Also, as I just mentioned, please feel free to leave any question or comment below, and we'll be sure to respond quickly. Please follow KPO on Facebook, where we post all of our astronomical digital images, and keep everyone informed about upcoming astronomical events. We'd love to hear from you to discuss all this great stuff up in the sky. All the links to these places in cyberspace, including our website, kpobservatory.org, can be found below in the episode notes as well. And finally, if you feel this video provides you value, and if you'd like to see more, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where for a small amount per video, you can support our efforts, and help us make even more great astronomy tutorials, just like this one. So bye for now, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Star Hopping with Kissimmee Park Observatory.